Timor Leste President Jose Ramos Horta says a new tough line will be taken on corruption through 2010.
Corruption is rampant in a number of areas, in customs, in procurement, in public works, in rice distribution.
President Horta says civil servants are taking money intended for the nation's poor.
And these are not just allegations, because it did happen, of one of the civil servants in the Ministry of Social Solidarity extracting $5 for every 20 that they are supposed to pay to this elderly. In the process, he pocketed $17,000.
Jose Ramos Horta explained how the distribution of rice is suffering from corruption.
There has been malpractice, there has been corruption at the Ministry of Commerce and Tourism in charge of transaction of the rice. Again, I emphasize, I'm not blaming the government as such, the ministers. Much of the mismanagement and corruption is done by well-entrenched civil servants, and again I say, not all, small group, maybe no more than 10%. On the rice business, the government sells the rice to traders at a subsidized price. The furthest away from Delhi, it's supposed to be cheaper, precise to benefit the people in the. So if you tell the government, I'm going to sell it in Ilioma, then you pay less to the government, so that you take it to Ilioma, which is one of the remotest, furthest away from Delhi. It's still a reasonable price for the people there, and yet the sellers still make a decent profit. But what happened is they get bags and bags and bags of tons of rice for Ilioma, and the people in the ministry didn't even bother to wonder. Ilioma has only 2,000 people or whatever, I don't remember the name. Do they need 2,000 bags of rice? Everybody will have constipation there for so much rice eating. And it happened a few other places. And those brilliant people in the Ministry of Trade and Industry and Tourism just sign off bags and bags of rice to these places.
The president says another form of corruption comes through inefficiency, where the Ministry of Infrastructure has only spent a tiny amount of the budgeted work.
So what is the budget execution? I heard it's about 15% of the Ministry of Infrastructure. Well, might as well close down the Ministry of Infrastructure.
It's the time for stern measures, according to Jose Ramos Horta. He says if the execution of infrastructure development does not improve significantly, he will cut off the cash flow in 2011.
If in 2010 the budget of the Ministry of Infrastructure is executed below 50%, then I am sorry, but I will not promulgate the budget of 2011, at least in regards to the Ministry of Infrastructure.
In a country where property of the people is one of the main challenges, the government must make sure the funding flows through to the people in the regions to improve the standard of living.
I urge the Prime Minister to stop the rice distribution until they investigate and set up a new system that is 100% foolproof, corruption proof. That they must also investigate much more seriously the problems of the mismanagement of the payments to the elderly. Both programs are good, are very important. These are for poor people. And they must continue, they must expand, because we have the oil money. What are we going to do with it? Leaving it in West Treasury bonds the dollar depreciating, we losing the money. Well, might as well give it to the poor.
Jose Belo for Tempo Semanal in Dili, Timor Leste.